session is really about onboarding, like onboarding, two aspects of onboarding. Onboarding into cryptocurrencies, onboarding into NFTs, and then onboarding into organizations and staffing and those things. So we're going to touch upon those both. We're going to start about onboarding people into crypto. And so the first person I'm going to pick on here is Ray, okay? Ray, who has personally onboarded, I think between he and Dustin, they've onboarded personally hundreds and hundreds and hundreds of people into cryptocurrency, into NFTs and everything else. So one of the questions I have just for the group, start with Ray, is what does it really take? Like, what's the key ingredient into onboarding to really make it happen? I mean, because projects need to know this. Everyone needs to know this. So let's get the idea of people who've been in the trenches. So let me know.
Well, 100% is to care about what's going on right there, right? It's a big deal. I think a lot that's missing in corporations and anything is customer support. I know it's not a glamorous thing and all that stuff, but this is serious stuff you're talking about when you're trying to get somebody into fiat, into crypto, and then they're in this centralized exchange at Coinbase, right? And then moving it to something like MetaMask. And there's key points in those stages, right, Vince? I mean, people are, it's scary. If you're moving real money from there to there, and there's a point from Coinbase to MetaMask where there's a huge trust thing that you can fill, right? And it is, like you said, for about 5-10 minutes, I don't care if I'm moving $200 or $250,000 with somebody, there's 10 minutes there where you're like, holy crap.
So what do you talk about on the phone during that time?
It's not there. And listen, there's not something like I'm talking about, something about crypto. I'm taking their mind off of it, right? And just having a conversation and making them feel comfortable. Because then once it shows up, there's a point right there, there's a bond. And we talk about that with bees. That's what bees are. We bond, we educate, we empower, and we swarm.
Right. There we go. So Dusty, like when you are onboarding people, you've helped take a lot of people from like what DeFi has been into some of the NFT space. Like when you get people to make that jump or just get the jump into using other tools to get onboarded, what's the thing that really is like the secret sauce that you're taking away from all this that you try to explain to maybe the people you work with on Discord or anything like that?
I think it's transparency, that trust factor that kind of Ray talked about, I just did it with the gentleman this morning. I hit him with a crypto Firehose, a DeFi Firehose in 10 minutes. And the dude, he probably left. I don't know if he's still here anymore or not. But he was just blown away. And it's that education, I'm no smarter than any person in here, This group loves me because I'm just an old country boy from Georgia. And I think they see if a country boy can get it, anybody can get it, And this group loves me because I take what all these, you're phenomenal, you're geniuses, but I can take what they teach me and put it in their language, make it more simple. I'm more direct. I get the point across. That's what I hear from this group. And it was kind of my leg into the group was that they're like, we get you, man. You make this simple for us. I think it's relationship. You connect with those people. It forms that trust where they want to know what you know. So it's just like the gentleman this morning. Yeah, I hit him with a crypto Firehose, but it's like we had that one-on-one connection, where he was just downloading it, everything I had to say, So he'll probably all look it up, but I told him, I said, this guy will not brag on himself. But this guy, y'all, 600 hours of YouTube footage, onboarding people. I mean, he needs a big applause. That's education. That's education. And then we got the community where we got the relationship. I think those two aspects are the most important key.
All right, so Kimber, so you talking about education, education. You got here. Well, tell us how you got here through education. Let's talk about it.
So I am an educator and I used to teach high school math. So I taught everything from freshman to senior. So I do have a teaching certificate. and I have since moved on. I am a mechanical engineer, and I design data centers for Fortune 500 companies. So I have had the experience of working with somebody who's young, who's a teenager, all the way up to, senior execs. And what I've definitely learned is no matter when you explain a concept of education, you have to go ahead and think like your adult audience is a freshman in high school. And actually, the freshmen in high school sometimes know a lot more than your adult audiences. So you just need to be aware of that. And you also need to understand that people learn in different ways. There are auditory learners, there are visual learners, and there are learners that do learn by doing. And if you don't capture all those ways of learning, you're not going to capture them and they're going to miss it. So the best thing you could do is like you do YouTube videos. So not only are you giving an auditory lesson, you are also giving a visual lesson. And so you're already hitting 2 of them. And then by jumping in your community and teaching your community, you're actually hitting on the here's how to do it, and you're physically walking people through it. And so that education that you have done, you've now taught them how to fish, and now they are going to teach others how to fish. And that's kind of the concept you have to do with onboarding all the time, with everyone.
Excellent. So, Shanni, so coming from a content creator perspective, you podcast content creators, like when you're onboarding that, segment of this audience, what are you seeing?
Yeah, I mean, coming from the content perspective, I feel like something that a lot of people are missing. First of all, for sure, know your audience and treat them like they're 5 years old. I would say even lower than freshmen, because some people don't even know that you have to go through your MetaMask browser to be able to mint certain projects. Some people don't even know that you can't actually buy NFTs off of the OpenSea app on your phone. So it's like the most tangible, the most basic, rudimentary things that a lot of us, we just know about. Some people don't know about that, right? But another part about knowing your customer, some people might not care about the blockchain aspect. They might not care about things being decentralized or having a vote. But you know what they might care about? The community. They might care about being able to attend events and parties in real life. They might care about having a Discord with a bunch of people that they can chat to, or maybe having a Twitter space that they can access, that they can go on stages to frequently and speak to all of their new friends. So it's really about not just being able to speak to your customer, understand them, whatever. It's about understanding what they actually want and what part of this space they can get out of that. For example, my dad, he couldn't care less about the tech. He doesn't even know how to use his phone. He has a MacBook Pro with all these features and uses literally Microsoft Word and maybe Safari, okay? But what he does care about and what he thinks is so cool is that I get to go to real life events where I'm interacting with Naval, Eric Weinstein, all of these intellectual thought leaders. He cares about that. So when I explained that part of NFTs to him, he was like, oh, all right, now I understand that there is a positive here. So I think everybody will take something different from the community, and it's really about speaking to those people and making sure that you're being as tangible with your education as humanly possible. No question is too stupid when it comes to Web3. It is so new. MetaMask browser, something I had to find out on my own, and I wish somebody just told me. It took me about a month before I was able to buy an NFT.
All right, so Andrea, like a lot of us are like in doing a lot of what we're doing, but you live in a world of coaches and influencers. And we were talking before, like you walk in and talk about NFTs to this group, and it's a brand new world for them. So when you're talking to this group, which seem to be open-minded to trying new things, what are you seeing there about just introducing them to what crypto is all about?
When I'm talking to different people and I bring up what I'm doing, often I get, probably most of you get this look, they just look really confused and like, I've heard about that. And they just really need that back love of what it is. And the people who are more interested and ask me the most are the people who do trust in what we're sharing, because it's about that human capital, that heart to heart, that they feel that they can trust you and that you have some kind of background behind you, that what you say has had meaning and that you're very authentic and very open. So in sharing that, what's been the biggest aha for them is as I make it tangible for them. So if I talk about cryptocurrency, I talk about how during COVID, when you couldn't see the bank teller because she was behind the dark glass and you just put the money in the tube and magically appears on your phone in your bank account. And then you magically go to somewhere and touch it with an Apple Pay. Really, it's the same thing. It's just another form of currency now called cryptocurrency. And explaining that crypto doesn't mean like a crypt, like dead or death. And explaining it means cryptic, like that way other people can't, are less likely to be able to steal from you. And then when I make it tangible as far as speakers and influencers, how it can mean something different to them, as far as like membership and having people go on retreats with them based on if they own an NFT or if they own a token, they now have access to something else. Then all of a sudden their brains fall into e-commerce and they're like, oh, I want in.
So what you're saying, like in general, this onboarding concept is really about just meeting people where they are, right? So if we meet people where they are and we get them there, we talked about what you've learned. What are the biggest challenges to it? The biggest challenge, we know we have to explain it, but what are the biggest challenge, maybe not to us in general, but new projects? What don't they get? They assume that they're so clever that we're just going to launch this project and build it and they will come. What are they missing about that, the onboarding part of it?
I mean, every single project that does a launch is slightly different, and all those of us in this space know that they're slightly different. And I think that they sometimes assume that their users know more than they actually do, because it's your experienced people aren't the ones that are hanging out in Discord and chatting. I mean, there are obviously experienced people hanging out, but if they're not the ones there in the Discord trying to figure out what your project is and how to do it and where is it going and how do I mint, those aren't, your experienced people aren't asking those questions. So they really just need to get an idea of like, who is their audience? What is their audience asking for? And they need to really spend the time to take the lessons and the education and apply it specifically to what their person is going to have to do in their project to mint or in their project to sell. And so I've seen a lot where they throw a little education and it's a link, the generic link, here's MetaMask and here's OpenSea, and that's it. And that they think they're educating by doing that, and you're not. You need to do what the bees and what you guys are doing, and you have that talking to your community, having lessons that literally look like what they are going to replicate on Mint Day.
Right.
So before I talk about the challenges, I'd like to put a few things in perspective. How many of you here bank with the top 5 banks in US? So JP Morgan Chase, Wells Fargo, quite a few. Across the globe, between the top 10 banks, which include the top 5 from China and then the top 5 from US, you have about $2 trillion in equity in this bank being banked by a couple of billion people. Compared to that, in the crypto market today, you have about 2 trillion in equity, down from 3 trillion in November. That is being held by 300 million people across the globe. You can see how the number of people holding crypto, that 300 million, is a very small percentage of the 7.7 billion population of Earth. Now, to add another layer to it, the number of people last year on OpenSea that held an NFT, it was 360,000, which is now an even smaller percentage of the 300 million people who hold a cryptocurrency. And out of the entire market of NFTs, 10% of the NFT holders, so 36,000 people, give or take, hold 80% of the NFTs. So now, when you're thinking about only trying to get your project to sell out, you are talking about selling to only these 36,000 people. And do you know how hard it is to market to such a niche audience? So your best bet is to educate more people about it. Education is the first step. We have heard that on a lot of panels. Bring in your audiences and create a community around something that a community actually cares about. A community cares about their upliftment, right? So for example, in Bees, when they came together, they brought together builders. So I met Donna in the audience who said, I and my husband, we built houses. They brought together educators. They brought together carpenters, handymen. And these people were taught about finance and then onboarded. I think that is extremely important. Before you even think about how can I sell my project to someone, you first have to onboard that person, right? Make him or her understand and do that selflessly. That's extremely important, because unless we do that, all these talks about, oh, how DeFi can change the world because someone in Africa can get on the chain and now the transfers are going to be so transparent. Think about it. Are those people amongst the 300 million people that actually bank with cryptocurrency today? So education has to be intentional. I do agree you have to meet people where they are there, but you have to actually step out of your confines, reach out to these minorities, to these sectors that have no way to actually access what you are even telling them. How do you learn about crypto when you don't even know crypto? Yes, you can go and Google crypto, but if you don't know what cryptocurrency is, why will you Google it? So education has to be very intentional. You have to get out there, educate people, and that is when true decentralization can be achieved.
Thank you for that.
Well, I'm happy to add to that, that part of what we do in my company is recruiting these days. And part of recruitment, it's always educating, because the amazing thing on Web3, that it's a whole new language, it's a whole new world for so many people. And in my team, and I'm doing digital marketing for the past 16 years. And in my company, my team, not all of them, I can force them to shift into the Web3. And I have to really actually recruit people that are integrated and there are experts in NFT. I don't know if experts is the word, because there are no experts yet. We are all learning here all the time. It's a learning curve for everyone. But at the end of the day, to find people who are actually dived into NFTs and do what we need in our company, do marketing, and be able to work with other people, and there's so many components to that, it is very hard. So the shifting to take people from one place on the web to another, sometimes it's even impossible. So therefore, recruiting new people, it's always a process. And I can tell you that I've been dealing with recruiting people every day and bringing more people on board. We have a very big team because we're working with multiple projects at the moment in my company. And the thing is that to find the really good people that are invested in it and already have the know on the Web3, it is very hard to do. But when you find them, you have to nurture them, and you also have to educate. So I always bring education and courses to my team, and to everyone who I can on spaces, on Clubhouse, on every place that I am bringing value and knowledge as much as I can, but especially when it comes to the team that I am bringing on board. So now I have a new department, new whole section in my company that deals with NFTs, because it's very hard sometimes to break this border and bring this education to people who are having some hard time with that, and that's okay, but really it's a small percentage. Remember that we started the social media arena, like the social media industry on 2000 and whatever, we're so old, on 2000 and whatever, it's 4.
And you had to have
I started when I was
school address.
2000. Yeah, I started in 2005, so it was like a million years ago, and there was no position like social media manager. There was no human being that was an influencer at the time. Influencer, now everyone who has followers is an influencer. Yeah, we are all influencers. But there was no such a position. And we are now at the same beginning with the Web3, because we are at this exciting moment that this position not exist yet. To be Discord manager, to be a educator in NFT, we all still learning. So it is a process. It's going to take some time, but we're getting there. So the more education there's out there, the better. That's for sure.
Yep. Right on. Ray, what you got something?
Yeah, and I just wanted to add on that is, lead by example. We had an amazing leader that kind of taught our group, and he's a machine that doesn't sleep, and he makes fun of me because I have banker's hours. It's just I can't do 2 hours sleep, but The way he would do things of just staying on. We had calls of Zoom calls where we're walking people through DeFi. I mean, our community is so diverse. We have 18-year-olds all the way to 85. People that are not even sure how to open up their email, right? And that's not a downer, and I'm not doing that. But I seen that man stay on for 28 hours, right, on a call, helping people individually. That kind of culture is what you see. And where I heard somebody last panel, it's kind of weird. You guys like really love each other. It's true. This is a family, and it's so tight. We have a core that's just really neat, right? And it's just unique. But that leadership, Richie, I can't tell you how much I thank you and I appreciate you. You're an amazing man.
Well, I'd love to just touch on some of the problems that we're talking about, which is this idea of educating the masses. Short form video content. It is absolutely king right now, whether it's on Instagram Reels, YouTube Shorts, which people are not utilizing enough, TikTok. This is how you can maximize the algorithm to be able to educate the masses. And we need, I'm sorry, it sucks, but we have to put down the slang for a hot second. We cannot use terms like FUD and rug and hodl to people who don't even know about this space. We have to be able to talk. We need to make this something with mass appeal. Okay, if we're gonna get hundreds of millions of people on board, we have to make it accessible. We need to make it not a cult project. And right now, it literally seems like we are in a Dungeons and Dragons game. Okay, this is what people see when we start talking about NFTs and crypto and the metaverse. They think, oh, so you guys are wearing costumes and going to conventions. They don't know we're wearing hoodies and going to conventions. They'd probably come a lot faster if they did. So short form video content, it's absolutely crucial. And it's basic marketing techniques. We don't need to get crazy. The same sort of tactics we're using for other campaigns, for other areas of life, other industries, we can use for NFTs, Web3, and crypto. And I mean, listen, use what we have now. Social media is there for a reason, and short form video content is absolutely the way we're gonna onboard the masses.
And if I may add to these amazing words, is that a lot of the projects that I'm working with, part of their content pillars, part of it, it's educational for their, for the community, for the followers, because every project want to have also onboarding new people. Not everyone knows about NFTs, and every project wants to educate as well. So a lot of times we create content that actually educate the masses, and that's most important for every project, I think, to have an educational center. We have educational center in the Discord, on the YouTube, on the Instagram, on any place where you can really bring out content. So I love that you share that. That's exactly what, to the point, girl.
Yeah. So Kimber, so you are doing a lot with like a video, and we were talking about how we're just working through the mechanics of making it all work, So what have been, in terms of producing this content and some of the audiences that you're building it for, where are they asking you to start first?
I mean, yeah, the biggest thing is, we get these great content where you can go on a video. As long as what I've seen is working is if you can pause it or you have a simple diagram that is one page, then they tend to get it. But we forget that the memory and the short-term memory that we all have is there. And so it's very hard to remember. So what the challenges are is to facilitate educational items such as short form. But you got to remember that person that saw a reel, they're not going to go back to their saved reel and pause it. So you need to have another way that it is written down as a reference. And the biggest thing I like to say is when I joined the NFT space, all of us spent hours on Google trying to find what is a MetaMask, what is this? And I think we need to start getting better at not just teaching one small aspect, but actually going through, here's where to start. This is an NFT. Teach them about a POAP. It is a free NFT, and it teaches somebody, you can reserve it with an email only. You don't even need a wallet. Teach that. Then, now they have this POAP that they want to see. Now you teach them how to do a MetaMask wallet. And you got to break it down into such small steps and written down, and then they get excited about it.
I have to add one more thing. I'm sorry. It's just so to the point. And I think that everyone who has today a digital asset and he's from the NFT space should educate as much as he can, Since the moment I've shifted to NFTs and I've dived into it, my whole body is burned around NFTs and my soul, and I'm waking up in the morning NFT'd. And part of my assets has become NFT educational. And a lot of them, it's articles on a blog. We have a blog, so we have articles explaining NFTs, explaining community building, explaining Web3, cryptoism, etc. And we have the reels, and we have the Instagram and the LinkedIn as well. So any platform where you're on or create spaces, speaking about it, it is so important to educate, because the more we educate, the more we're going to have investors coming in, collectors coming in, creators coming in. The more we spread around, the more we grow, the more we get recognition, kind of, We're not just the dragons that wearing weird stuff on us, but we are going to be recognized. That's it. So it's important.
So Andrea, you may have something to add to it, but I think that I don't know, a lot of people don't know, like the top 5% of the people, top 5% of what connected people on LinkedIn, you're one of the top 5%?
Yeah, in 2013, I got a email from LinkedIn that I was the top 1% of most connected people. And I taught college at the time at 2 different colleges, and I got in trouble for teaching it to my students because they said it was a fad,
Well, so when you get this, now that you're connected, I mean, how can people leverage those sort of connections? Because here's the thing, the joke a bit about influencers, but we're all sort of micro influencers. So if you're all like 6 degrees of Kevin Bacon away from something, but if we're all connected, how can we help that next person understand it? Not everybody has 30, 40, 50, 60,000 followers. But like, what's the thing that you feel that you do when you connect with somebody? Because we talked about this when we were trying to bring people into our project. You connected with people and they ask you questions, and then you were able to answer it. And it was just like it wasn't like a broadcast. It was just a simple conversation.
Well, it was interesting because at first I was so excited. I Firehose people as well. And, you get that, like, they're just overwhelmed with the information. And then I realized I needed to backpedal and do like I do with publicity and do like a drip campaign. So I'd mention it accidentally on purpose, and then I bring it up again, and then I tell a story or an analogy. So I create like content like you guys were referring to, one-on-one with people, and then in groups, and then maybe when I was on stage I'd drip it in and bring it up and benching it. And so the more they heard it, the more they felt comfortable with the topic, and then it showed that I had credibility. And I think that's one of the things, all of you, even though you may feel as you're just a beginner, Tal is right. We're all beginners, because every day I'm learning something new, and it cracks me up that any of us could be an expert, because it's changing and adapting so much. And then with telling those stories about it, when you ask them a question and have them ask a question back, they're hearing it in their own mouth and hearing those own terms. It makes more sense to them. And then they're able to have this connection to it. And then if you dispel the myths, I think that's the top thing, is we read so many crazy stories about all these horrible things happening. And if you can tell them that, I think the biggest part with the bees is I was able to tell people, no, I'm telling you, I know the developers. I have talked to them on Zoom. I've seen their faces. These are not some strangers that I don't know. These are people have proven over this time that they're very valuable, they're very intelligent, and that they're heart-centered and they care. Then people really bought in.
All right, that's it. So as we look at this, and so Tal touched upon it, and like both Tal, you and Sonia have global teams. Like, onboarding from a perspective of getting staff. I mean, tell me about your story of like building your staff, and then we'll go back and talk about how you've been able to transition your staff.
I have a team of about 30 spread across US, India, Philippines, Africa, and a lot of them are designers, beautiful designers. So if you guys see our art there, it's all credit to the designers. I can't take that credit. And when we onboarded them, the team that you onboard, the first thing you have to do is you start with your team. Because many of them, or almost all of them, might not know about NFTs, or what they probably know of is a headline that says, oh, a picture of a monkey got sold for a couple of $1 million. So now you have to bring them in. And remember, your community building starts with your team. So as I onboarded my team members, we were already working together. So some of them we onboarded this year, and then about 20 of us, we were working together since 2021, beginning of 2021. So I had to first explain to them what is NFT, what is an NFT, what is crypto, what is blockchain. And today, the designers who are leading the project, they completely understand what is it that we are trying to get. And so now they can contribute and they can come up with ideas rather than follow orders. That is important because anytime 20 thinking brains is better than one. Another challenge is finding good developers across the globe. And these stats are a little old, but in 2018, you just had 18 million developers across the globe, of which only 100,000, give or take, were blockchain developers. In US, if you have to hire a blockchain developer, the starting salary would be $150,000 at least. California, expect to pay $500,000. But even if you go to a country like India, you still have to pay $100,000. So blockchain developers are not cheap. That education, it actually goes beyond just getting the person with the knowledge, but onboarding people with potential who have the urge and the drive to go and learn things on their own. So I have a friend here in the audience, smart guy. He is at ASU and he worked on financial apps in India. So I told him, you have to learn about decentralized finance because you can really contribute to it. You are smart, you can go and learn Solidity, which is a programming language for blockchain. You can read about it. And that is how you bring people in. I have friends at Google. I am ex-Broadcom, I'm ex-Deloitte. So I have a bunch of smart friends. And these are the people who started mining Bitcoin before Ethereum white paper was out. And now with NFTs, unfortunately, because of the news, all what they say is, okay, some art that can be easily copied and pasted is being sold for millions of dollars. And they don't believe in that. So we spoke about the fungible concept of the token. And they came up with ideas. Oh, you know what? By the way, this concept of uniqueness and digital ownership can be applied in the field of software licensing. And that is the aha moment. You don't have to onboard all of them to an NFT PFP project. You have to bring them on this ecosystem. Many of them might already have heard about decentralization, right? But you have to bring them into an area that they are comfortable with. So guys, if you go out there and try to find people with the knowledge of NFTs and knowledge of blockchain, it's a very hard journey. All the best to you. So your best bet is to bring on smart people who have the drive, who share the same passion as you do, and together we learn.
So, Tal, you talked about when you brought your team, you had these two departments and you grew them. So is the hunt for these crypto NFT talent, is the hunt constant? Or is it just like
Hourly, every day. Every day, hourly, that's what I do. I'm looking for good staff for the company, and it is really hard at this stage. I think that the more the time will go past, we're going to get more and more people who have deeper understanding in that Web3. And that's why, I cannot really force my team to understand in something that they cannot really dive into and maybe they don't feel like. So I have a team for years that have been built, digital marketing assets for our clients, and they have created a lot of mass, engagement and exposure to clients, etc. So they know the Web2 arena. They know how to build websites, to do email marketing or whatever. But then suddenly their boss lost her mind and she went into the NFTs, and that's it. She shifted the whole company with her because she's the boss. She's like that's what I'm passionate about. So I made a big shift in the company to the NFT sphere. And now I still don't give up on my, my previous clients and all the branding that I've built for the past 16 years. But I've been doing a lot of shifting to the crypto and the NFT world. And by doing that, I have to actually recruit, and I created a whole separate department with different people to actually manage this. And when you find this one person that is really good at, you have to treasure him very closely, because it's very hard to find another one just like that. So I have been educating my team for years. I've been for the whole past year. I mean, for years. I'm educating them for years about many things. But for the past year, I've been educating them on Web3 and on NFTs, and a lot of them getting hard time to catch it, but they're understanding that I not really lost my mind, just a little bit, and they're taking part of it. And I am in recruitment. It's a daily job right now, because again, it is very hard to find those people who are already invested in marketing, understanding community building, understanding the Web3, understanding this world. It's such a new place, new thing for everyone, and it is shifting in state of mind for so many people. So it takes, it's going to take a while, but I believe that the good thing is that we're starting right now. We're at the tip of the iceberg, and we're starting at good time, because those people who are working with me are going to get better and better for every failure we're going to have. And I'm sure we're going to have some failures on the way, because we're all learning as we evolve. We are going to learn and become expert more and more in that field. And in a year from now, when people are just going to come on board, we're already going to be better and better in giving them results on what they're working with us.
So, Dustin, so you in a community built a team of people. Well, you collaborated and organized a team of people. If you had to take a look and take a team or build a team like that let's say on Discord, like you've done, like a cohesive team, like what would that take? Like as a business person who run your own business, like it's a challenge. Like if you had to give somebody a playbook to build a team for that one role, like a Discord, like what does it take?
The gem in the rough. We, the bees, got very, very lucky because we had people volunteer to do this. I volunteered myself to help. How I got up at the top, the head mod, I don't know. It's just I got in there and I do know. Nobody's going to work harder for my assets than me. Nobody. I'm going to, I can't trust anybody to make my assets valuable. That's my job. And if everybody took that position for their own assets, onboarding would be easy. Because it's not, I don't need to sell somebody in the crowd a bee or anything else. I need to help that person buy what they're interested in, because when the tide rises, all ships rise with it. That should be our goal. It's not to get them into our project, but help get them in their project, But to get back to that point, we got very lucky, and I dug in. I care about the bees. I care about my assets. I want them to be the most they can be. I want everybody that has a bee to be the most it can be. So I just dug in, and I dug in real hard. That's why I dug in so hard. And it just, I didn't ask for it. I just kind of got the label of head moderator. But myself, I could not do it without that team. That's what Tal said. If you find a good person that's got that value, they're worth hanging on to. The team that I've got under me, it just magically happened. And we've had a lot of stuff in the bees just magically happen. It just falls in our lap. I mean, I guess it's the grace of God. He's got some favor on us. But the team I got under me, I mean, it's like we are a well-oiled machine, and we've learned together. Yes, we've made mistakes together. We've hurt people, we've harmed people, but we've made a point to try to repair that, I think that's my biggest lesson as a community manager, is to make sure you manage what you have. Don't let one sheep go astray and just say, they didn't matter anyway, because that could be the strongest link in the group once you repair them and put them back together, So to find that team, I don't know how to tell you to do it other than to get on your knees and pray, God send me a good team, because that's the way it happened for the bees, But I think it's like Tal said, you find one that's got that value, and then find some that want to get under that leadership and learn from that person so that you form that team, I mean, that's the best advice I've got to put a team together, is try to find that one, that one special one that has that leadership quality, that is not prideful, he's humble. He'll get up on stage and say, I love my team. I love my mods. If you're here and you're watching, because I'm nothing without them, you know. I think that's good leadership, is to say we're a team all together.
If I may add to that, first of all, I own a bee. Just so you know, I own a bee.
Congratulations.
I love my bee. She's a beautiful female bee, and she's exactly me, a working bee. You know, I love her. But I wanted to add to that, you know, when you're recruiting a team, it's making them feel like this is their baby. They're waking up in the morning hungry to come to work or to come to be part of that conversation and be part of that team of that building this. It is important for every company, for every community, for every project, for every product, for every service, for anything when it comes to grow a community and grow a team that works with you. I work also with my team is remotely for many years. I have team sits in Australia, in Israel, in LA, in Pennsylvania, in Amsterdam. I have one in London. We're in New York. We're in so many places. So if we don't make them feel that they are united under a one mission, you're just going to fail. So it's all about the mission. It's all about making them feel it's their project. We're a family. I call it the Social Lady family. We're not just a company or an agency. We are a family, and everyone is waking up to his own business, and they're all growing together under our wings. So I agree with that.
And it was. I'm sorry. It was started organically, how we started with DeFi, right? And that's why we were able to do that by staking your capital. Austin always says it perfectly about protecting your capital and what we're here to do. It's very natural. That makes it, you know, not a job. It's what's also beautiful about a DAO. That's also like a living organism, right? People that are maybe not pulling the weight, they're eventually going to fall off, and they're just going to sell whatever at the B or whatever. That's what's really cool about this new space. This is, you know, people really, it really is taking ownership of what do you want. Maybe you don't want. Maybe you are a person that just likes to be told what to do. That is okay. That's fine too. But the people that want to go out and change and do world changing things, and that's all y'all in this room, we are pioneers. This is crazy that in a couple years from now, the things that are going to come from this. So I really appreciate it, and it's organic. It's just one way to do it. It's kind of pure. It's kind of cool way to do it is to build organically grassroots type stuff.
I wanted to address. So one of the things that I hear you all saying is that, you know, it's hard, and I actually have a different point of view. I don't think it's hard. I think I think you guys are already showing how amazingly you've been able to accomplish this. And us as a community, that's what's happening, is we've been inclusive and transparent, and we've been letting people know we care. We're giving them partnership and things. We're giving them a voice. And when people have that, they will step up. And the people who don't step up and who are in the sidelines, what you mentioned, D-Ray, about like, or wait, I said it right. Yeah, I was like, wait, because Ray's behind you. I thought, did I just make them like a team together? When we give people that ability to stand up, and then even when they're shy or on the sidelines, if we wait, sometimes they process things differently. There's that engineer who isn't the life of the party, and then all of a sudden they drop the mic with one statement that you're like, where have you been all my life? And you guys are doing this and making it happen. And all of you out there, you have such great wealth of knowledge and information. And I think the difference is I haven't heard one person talk about how much money am I getting. They're all saying, what can I do to make a difference? And that'd be nice to receive some.
All right. So with that, I think this has been, a great session. So we're gonna wrap this up. I mean, if there's anything anybody wants to add?
I do. I
Okay.
got one thing.
Yeah.
And this is how y'all can find a good group. If you're not having fun, investing money and making money, then you're with the wrong group. Because the bees, we say, bee-haw, for a reason, because we have fun.
And no, so with that, I want to really thank this crew. I really appreciate it. Everyone, just give them a big round of applause. Check out the projects, follow them, do whatever you can. Thank you so much.